Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Amela Janine, and this is Echoes and Affirmation, the place for your daily affirmation. Before we get into today's energy poll to see what sort of affirmation would be useful to the collective, it is Monday, so I want to talk about my nail polish that I have on. I did my nails yesterday and just kind of went about the day, normal day, didn't do anything super crazy. And we've got some chipping. This nail actually peeled and resulted in a break. What I used was Insta-Dri, and I actually did a base coat, which I used last week. I don't know if you can see that. That is Sally Hansen Double Duty Base and Top Coat. This works pretty well. It did a good job last week. And for the top coat, I used this, which is Sally Hansen Miracle Gel Top Coat. So 2 coats of the base, 2 coats of this, and 2 coats of this. 2 and 2 is what I did with last week's color, which lasted all week. It was on there until I actually took it off, so it works. This Insta-Dri didn't make it a day. Okay, so that's my recommendation on that, I guess. The color, if you are interested, is a Senna Snap 393 Senna Snap. Pretty color, but, chips. Anyway, so now that we've got that out the way, excuse the nails. I wanted to be, honest about how things are performing in case you are, wanting to do your nails at home. So with that, let's get into your affirmation for today. The affirmations you receive here are intended to be reflected upon throughout the day and can be used for prompts for you in your journaling or meditation or in conversations with others. So before we get into that, I just want to say I acknowledge the purveyor of light, life, and love for my blessings and gifts. And let's see what comes out in the message for the collective today. Okay, so these are the first time I'm using these cards. I tried to open the box to actually look at the cards and rip the box. The box is pretty flimsy, and I was not pleased that the box ripped, so easily. But these are Affirmation Deck, 120 uplifting affirmation cards to inspire confidence, calm anxious thoughts, and bring joy whenever you need it. Oops, sorry. Okay. 120 uplifting cards to inspire confidence, calm anxious thoughts, and bring joy whenever you need it. Okay. And on the front here, it's sort of, you can see that. Okay. Take one when you feel stuck, sad, need self-love, feel anxious, need motivation, need confidence. Okay. So that's what this deck is about, and they are indeed sorted in that order. Self-love stack, feel sad, feel stuck, need confidence, need motivation, need self-love. Okay. So, I like how they are kind of sorted into that, but we're not going to leave them that way. That's not how we're going to use them on this channel. We're just going to see, how people are feeling. So, and everybody is shuffling. Oh my God, I'm sticking with that. I'm going to stick with that. Yeah, but it's too much for one go here. So, to actually get these kind of mixed up, we're shuffling. And everybody's still shuffling. We're going to do some cutting here. You know, for people who are really good at shuffling, I'm probably killing you looking at me do this. You know, I must say, some of the tarot readers, they've got that little shuffle thing down. I mean, you know, with the hand thing. I don't think I'm ever going to get there. I'm not really, I don't know. I'll be honest, right now I'm not motivated to work on that skill. But I may become motivated and try and do, you know, that little hand thing that most of the tarot readers got down. Right now, we're just going to do what we can do, which is normal. And we're shuffling. Okay. And let's do one more. And then we'll just kind of see what we get. All right. Okay. God bless me, right? If you believe in God, don't want to offend anybody. Okay. And we will cut and then take from the bottom of the deck. All right. I don't judge myself. I don't judge myself. Feel anxious. So that is what's out here right now. And, you know, the cards have a little rose. They're all pretty much the same, you know, rose design regardless. The difference between the cards is the color. This isn't really picking this up. This is sort of like a very soft pink. With the lighting, you can't really, you know, make out that it's sort of a pale, sort of pinkish peach type cloud color. And this is more sort of a mauve color. But anyway, all of them have the same sort of rose thing. And this says, feel anxious. And there looks like there's an elephant, you know, at the top of the card. And it says again, I don't judge myself. What's interesting about this particular message is we psych ourselves out sometimes, you know. We think that we're not really kind of up to snuff. And so we, you know, really just kind of get in our head. We make things difficult for ourselves. We just overcomplicate things. And one of the main ways that we do that is that we have negative self-talk that's like playing on repeat. I don't know if you can see this. Here, try and move that a little closer. You shouldn't judge yourself, but you should be reflective. Okay? So we all have to be honest with ourselves and take stock of, you know, who we are, you know, what we do well, what we don't do well, and do that honest self-assessment. But what we can't do is get stuck in, you know, saying that we're no good because we're not, you know, maybe the best at one particular thing. That we can't, you know, sort of take this holistic global approach and say, you know, oh my gosh, you know, you're a loser. You know, oh, Ramila, you're a loser. You can't talk to yourself like that, right? You may be able to say, you know, my little case, and this is not the best example, you know, oh, Ramila, you're not the best at shuffling, and we're shuffling, okay? You know, so you do what you can. You acknowledge your shortcomings. If it's something that is really important to you, dedicate the time to work on it. But if you're okay, you know, with where you are and there's other people who maybe do something better, then be honest with yourself about that too. You know, it's like, hey, I'm not the best at this. Do I want to put in the work to be the best at that? And then if the answer is no, you obviously should not be judging yourself in regards to whatever that thing is. In general, you should show yourself patience, extend yourself grace, and just recognize where you are in life. Be clear about where you want to go. Do honest self-assessment about where you are in that journey. Check in with yourself regularly. And if you do those things, you won't even feel anxious, because you'll be proactively trying to manage the change as opposed to letting the change happen to you. So what I would say about this is, when you're feeling anxious, think about where you are in terms of the situation. Think about, as detached as possible. How did the situation come about? And really maybe even try and tell yourself a couple of good things about yourself, things that you do well to help manage the feelings of anxiousness. But if you are caught in a negative self loop, you're feeling anxious, please try and do some breath works to break that cycle, maybe even do something physical to sort of change the music, so to speak. If you're sitting ruminating on something, stand up and just maybe do, a couple of jumping jacks. Maybe do some box breathing. 4 in, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, empty on 4, and then breathe in again for another 4 and repeat. Basic 4 beat box breath. Those sorts of things can help you with the anxiousness and help break the chain of thought there. So that is what I have for you now. Again, we drew feeling anxious from the affirmation deck. It doesn't say who made this deck, but essentially, don't judge yourself. Don't judge yourself. Show yourself grace. All right. And with that being the case, I just want to thank you all for taking time out to watch the video. Hopefully you found something useful in this. Hopefully there was some utility in this message that you will use to, reflect upon throughout your day, in meditation, again, in your journaling, or in communion with others. And as I shared at the top, I do share these affirmations Monday through Thursday. And just one final thing, I do not provide services to individuals, but if you would like for me to speak at your organization, or if your organization is going through some sort of change initiative, I do that sort of work through my organization, and you can learn more about me on LinkedIn. All right, take care, have a wonderful day.